Good evening, lords and squires, and thank you for tuning in to the second ever episode of JWCTV, where we bring you all the latest threats, gossip, and salt. And as you can see, our throne room has recently been completed, and we can't wait to dive into the topics tonight. Before any of that, though, King Mish bringing us the updates.
Great to be back with you again, Hand Ryan, and it's awesome being back in the throne room where we belong. So yeah, we have a few updates for the kingdom before we get to the show. We'll go through those now. First, round 3. We're heading up north to the King's Lands on 4/20 at the Wolf's Den. So get ready for that.
I think a few of our lords may have a slower start that night.
Winter is here. Also, before the round, make sure to get your upgrades in. There were, we won't name names, a few that may have not put their upgrades in.
Ooh.
May have hurt them in their game as well. So, Also, just wanted to give a quick shout out to ManaSync. The app is phenomenal. We're only on version 1, and it's absolutely crushing it. It kept everybody in check except for one person that broke a rule somehow still, but everybody else did good and had legal decks, in large part, I think, due to ManaSync. So, shout out to ManaSync.
ManaSync.
All right, and finally, is a big one. We got pledges from the Squires. So let's take a look at that right now.
Yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we're all the same. No duplicates anyway. All right.
Hell yeah. So I was.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Squires. Not too sure what that means for the kingdom yet, but we'll get back to you on that soon.
All right, and now for our main topic. We had games this week. Time for the recaps. Let's get into the first game. Your game, King, actually. I heard that you played against Darth Ryan. How'd that go?
I sure did. Darth Ryan and his faithful commander, Nekusar. And it was terrifying. Life totals were dropping fast and efficiently, and it was getting out of hand quick.
We did get a commander reveal out of that game, though.
We did, which we didn't get the week prior.
Yeah, so we didn't get to talk about it.
First time seeing it. Should we do that real quick?
Yeah, let's look at it.
All right.
You dare end one who belongs to me? I am the smile of the worm-cleansed skull, the god of graves and age, of dust and dust. I'm the haunt of mausoleums. I am the regrets of those who remain, and the restlessness of those who are gone. I am Merkel, Lord of Bones, and you have slain my chosen. But it is no matter, for I am death, and I am not the end. I am a beginning. Yeah.
And also, not too long after we finally got the Sellsword's commander reveal, we saw what Darth Ryan meant, and Commander Nekusar. He's got a famous soldier in his army. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Krang.
Oh,
Krang.
the Ninja Turtle enemy.
That's it, yes. He doubles the effects of Nekusar. So I figured, why not get rid of that thing? We're all losing a lot of life total at this point, so...
Seems smart.
Yeah, I was saying this out loud, at which point Darth Ryan said to me, you do that, I will remove you from the game. That threat was true. He took out the Sellsword in one fell swoop with Peer into the Abyss. Which, I don't know if you've heard of that card, but...
I have seen it. My understanding is that it causes the player to draw half of their deck. Well, actually, first they lose half their life, and then they draw half their deck, so when comboed with Nekusar, commander reveal.
I'll say.
So what I saw once Nekusar was, call it, lifted from the table, where he didn't really have the presence anymore, and it sort of freed the High Sparrow to do High Sparrow things, and he was able to draw the cards. Ultimately, and I love you, High Sparrow, taking a 39-minute turn to close out his portion of the game.
It was a very impressive turn, and it's not like he was sitting there spinning the wheels. He was doing something for that entire turn, which shows you how powerful of a turn it was. And the centerpiece of that turn was his commander, Helga, who adds X mana of any color depending on Helga's power. And then another good boy, a little doggy, Chakram Retriever, who says whenever you cast a spell during your turn, untap target creature. So he was generating a shit ton mana with his commander, untapping it, generating more, playing spells, untapping it, and he was just going off, not quite infinite, which was my understanding, but nearly infinite. And unfortunately, he was missing just one piece from winning the game, and that was either some sort of unblockable mechanic or trample to send through all that damage.
He was able to steal your KO, though.
Could have killed Travis before he had that crazy turn, but I was so scared of Nekisar that I focused all of my attention there. So he ended up passing his turn, passed to me, and fortunately I had Lisa Fang of Silverquill, which allowed me to generate a whole bunch of Inklings, was sacrificing my goodest boy Torgal, and was able to fly over a High Sparrow at that point who only had 11 life due to Nekizar. The pack ultimately did survive, but I have to admit it was terrifying, and we were very close to losing that one. And I just have a bad feeling that this Nekizar is going to come back.
It's okay, my king. You alright?
Yeah, I think maybe that Guinness is just hit me a little bit extra. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good.
alright, cool.
Yeah.
So, on to the next game?
Yeah. Hey, Hand, can I just ask you something real quick?
Sure.
Unrelated, but I could trust you, right?
Of course.
All right. Yeah. I mean, sorry. I got PTSD. My ancestors were betrayed by their last hand, in a time of parlay, nonetheless. So
I see.
I'm sorry. I trust you. I'm so sorry. It's just
I understand the stress.
it's generational trauma, is what they say.
I got you.
Thank you, Hand. I trust you.
good.
I trust you.
All right, so next game.
Next game. Game 2. Hand, what are the whispers on this one? I'm sure it was a spicy one with Voja and Norin and Henzi and whatever the hell Captain Rook is playing.
What is he actually playing, though? Yeah, I don't think we need to know what Captain Rook played this week anyway, because I'm pretty sure he got last in the game. So the game started off fast when Lord of Whispers kept a semi-risky hand because he had a soul ring, a forest, and some sort of ramp.
Yep.
He was able to get off to a quick start and became the threat. But because he came out pretty bursty, if you will, he kind of got 3v1 in a similar sense that Nekuzar was in your game. I think the difference is once his threat was neutralized,
Yep.
Voja became the next threat. Voja, in our experiences, has become the threat pretty quick, but because of Lord of Whispers' opening hand, I think he was able to get out ahead of Voja and sort of take the initial heat off of Voja.
That's pretty impressive to take.
Yeah.
You got to be doing something pretty powerful to take the heat off of Voja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough said. Then it became a match of threats between Henzi and Voja. Henzi was taking other players' creatures.
Yeah.
I think he was lacking the sack outlets to then sacrifice them before sending them back, because that's sort of one way potentially for Henzi or anybody to get around Voja's Ward 3, which is cheating, by the way. Ward 3 is cheating.
It is cheating.
And with that, Voja was able to pull ahead just enough more and have to kind of combat Captain Rook with whatever he was playing and getting last.
We don't know.
And Henzi, who was doing his thing, he knew to kind of leave Norin to the side because he kind of already got beat up a little bit, roughed up, and became secondary. And ultimately, Norin got second because of that.
Interesting. So did Voja end up taking out each opponent one at a time? Was it combat? Was it pretty much just combat damage?
So I think
overrun?
he took out Henzi and Captain Rook simultaneously, but I believe Henze got the better of it because of potentially life totals. That detail I unfortunately don't have footage of. It might have been one of those situations where he was granted third because Captain Rook ended up winning the first game. So it might have been a standings thing.
Okay.
Henze was doing really well, so third place, I think Henze is kind of not happy with that result. The Jägermeister, I mean.
Jägermeister, yes. So what you're saying is Voja did Voja things.
Counterspells.
Counterspells.
And that brings us to Game of the Week. The footage that you've all have seen at this point, Phobo reunited, which they were actually pretty excited about the moment it happened.
It's been a long time. I think it has happened since the merger, but maybe once and very early on.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that, but it has been a while because they were really excited when it happened. So I'm going to hand it over to you, King, if you want to get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. This was an interesting one, to say the least. A lot of crazy things were happening in this. Mothman was doing its thing. It's very scary. At one point, I think it milled 20 cards to everybody.
It would take so much resources.
Whatever you want.
I know, I can't. Yeah, okay.
Everyone's milling
Are you guys having
20
fun?
cards.
We're milling 20 cards, Jeff.
That's
2
not what
hours,
I
2
asked.
hours in.
All of us.
No, not all of us.
Oh, who?
Not me.
Sorry, Jeff. Everybody
Sorry
but
to
Tyler.
Oh, this is we're on camera?
Heard that.
Yeah. Stealing rad counters. He was producing a ton of mana with Kami, the Whispering Hope. That's the one that taps for how big it is. He's putting counters on everything. So that was getting out of hand quickly at first. And then Lord of Infinite did what the Lord of Infinite does. He tutored for something and was getting close to threatening for a combo. And at another point played Protein Hulk, I believe, which you know how that story goes, but it did get countered. And D-Rock was doing D-Rock things, dealing damage, drawing cards, but all that paled in comparison to how this game ended. It was a wild finish from our very own Kingmaker. So he was doing what he does, playing Planeswalkers, but to me, I think the centerpiece, at least initially, was this artifact that he played, Iker Moon Gauntlet, which adds abilities to his Planeswalkers. One is a 0 ability, which gives all of his Planeswalkers the ability to proliferate. And the other is an ultimate, a -12, that gives an extra turn. Crazy.
Extra turns.
So all of his Planeswalkers have that ability. And all of his Planeswalkers typically add a whole bunch of mana. Some of them deal direct damage when you're casting spells or drawing cards or doing whatever. So ultimately, he got 5 or 6 Planeswalkers out there that were doing this thing. Was able to take an extra turn, and this was all that happened all in turn 6. I didn't even need to watch the end of the game because no one interacted with him. By the time he got to his next turn, he was able to abuse all those abilities and ping everybody down to 0 in one turn by turn 7.
I played Magic when Planeswalkers were being released, and I said to myself, like, oh man, I never going to play Planeswalkers. They seem so overpowered. And obviously there's some Planeswalkers that are not created as equally as others now. But I was very impressed in this game about how well Planeswalkers synergize, because you have Planeswalkers that give you the ramp. You have Planeswalkers that, so he was proliferating.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, oh, we got turns. Like usually when a Planeswalker drops, you're like, just someone send a creature at that, get it out of the way. But suddenly they're already it's turn 5 and someone got to their 12 ultimate because of proliferating.
Yep.
And now you're just crapping your pants because they're already ultimating. And if in my experiences, Planeswalkers ultimating could potentially win the game.
And in this case, it surely did just that.
And there's no shortage of Planeswalkers. I believe there's like at least 15 plus Planeswalkers.
Yeah, to be exact, he's running 17 Planeswalkers.
17 Planeswalkers. Okay, I wasn't that far off. And the thing I'd be curious of is how he'll fare as the season goes, because there's a lot of different damage sources. He doesn't have a whole lot of blockers per se, so we'll see. I'm not saying like somebody should combat him a certain way. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. Definitely scared.
It's scary.
Yeah,
It's very
scary.
interesting, and I think that's a great point. You know, planeswalkers can be clunky sometimes. They're big mana, but so far from what we've seen, you're right. There's a ton of synergy between his planeswalkers, and the fact that they're ramping each other, they're speeding each other up, and they're pinging, they're causing the damage with each other, and they're accelerating each other with the proliferate abilities, et cetera, et cetera. So it's impressive so far. It's definitely scary. You know, just to highlight a few examples, he had Chandra's Legacy of Fire out, which adds a red mana for each planeswalker he controls. So he had 4 or 5 at that time. He's adding 5 red mana. That's wild. And then similarly, he had Narset of the Ancient Way out, which his +1 ability was to gain 2 life. And then he adds 1 mana of Jeskai. So a bunch of those mana pumpers. They're all out. That's adding a ton of mana. And with the proliferate ability, you're getting to those ultimates quick. And we saw it this game.
Oh, wait.
What?
I heard you made an appearance for the JV League, this Squire game.
Oh, yeah. Squires are people, too. So we had to check in on them and see how they were doing.
Do you want to give a quick recap of what you saw?
I mean, quick is the best way to describe it. It was one of the quickest games in JWC history that didn't end in a combo on turn 3. One player in particular, Squire Big Matt, went absolutely off. He got his engine going from the get-go, and nobody had any answers for him, and he took his opponents out one by one.
Ooh, with Voltron, commander damage.
With commander damage.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess none of the other squires had any removal in hand. They kept either removal-less hands or...
Well, to be fair, Big Matt's commander does have Ward 2.
And
it
that's
does make
cheating.
a challenge. No, Ward 3, not to talk back to you, my king, but Ward 3 is cheating.
Okay, Ward 3 is cheating.
And then my understanding is that Big Matt pulled sort of a god hand.
Yeah, he did. I could go through it for you if you want. It was quick enough.
Go for it.
Yeah. So turn 1, he laid down a cleric class, which if you don't know what that does, every time you gain life, it doubles or it adds 1 more life. And then turn 2, he played a Basking Broadscale, which didn't really have much impact, so I'll skip over that. Turn 3, he ramped with a Rampant Growth, leading into his commander, which gets counters every time you gain life. If you could see what's happening here, I think you're going to get it. And then he followed that up by playing a Soul Warden, which gains you a life for any time any creature is played. So he plays creatures, his opponent plays creatures. So you see what's happening here. Someone plays a creature, he's gaining life, he's getting another life from cleric class. Very quickly, by turn 4 or 5, Treebeard, his commander, was within lethal striking damage.
Yep.
And so then by turn, it was like 4 or 5, he played Predator's Rapport, which says choose target creature you control, you gain life equal to that creature's power plus its toughness. So he targets his commander, which was already within lethal. He gains that much life, which in turn adds that much counters to Treebeard. He swings it at poor little Squire Little Matt, and he's done for it.
Yeah, adios, muchachos.
Adios, muchachos, indeed. And long story short, he did the same thing to Squire Brandon and Squire Chris, and nobody interacted with him because of his Ward 2, and that was it. The game was over before 7. So the Squires aren't messing around, man.
No, but they're playing Magic the Gathering. We're playing to rule the world.
With that, it was absolutely a spicy week 2. Lots of crazy things happened. So I turn it over to you, Hand. You know, things are heating up in the kingdom. I got to ask, do we have at this point any threats to the crown?
So I think the one that sticks out to most, Voja is definitely... He's the only one with 2 wins. Seems like the obvious threat on paper. Yes, Ward 3 is cheating. Second week in a row, last place, kept his character. Pushed people's shit in. And did Voja things.
Yeah.
So he's pretty consistent. Being able to view Game of the Week, Kingmaker, and the Planeswalkers is definitely a scary one. It'll be interesting to see how consistent they remain to all the different types of decks.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that any one is a threat just yet. Voja's on the radar. Kingmaker is on the radar with Commodore Guff.
Yeah, duly noted, Hand, and I have to say I probably agree with you. It's not immediately clear to me how you deal with a full Planeswalker deck. Yeah, I mean, you could start swinging at them, but it's hard to remove them. So it does scare me. Again, I agree. It's early. There's going to be other things. And Voja, you got to assume something's happening there. One first week got all knockouts and did it again a following week with a target on its back. So, yes, it's early, but I have to agree with you.
And that concludes our show tonight. Remember to tune in Sunday nights at 8 before game day. But always remember, stay hydrated, my lords.